Today, we remember D-Day. 74 years ago, Allied forces stormed the beaches at Normandy and helped win World War II. The invasion weakened the Nazis' hold on Western Europe. It's estimated that roughly 10,000 Allied troops were killed, wounded, or missing in action on a single day.
5 years ago, 8 North Texas veterans returned to Normandy, but with them a woman who had never served but gave all she had.
Her name is Peggy Harris, and she lives in Vernon. CBS 11's Doug Dunbar has her story.
This is a love story.
Well, his father and I both worked, well, his father worked before I did, at the Air Force Base in Altus. And he wanted me to write to his son. Told me he had written him about me and he wanted me to write. Good girls don't write to men in the service they don't know.
But Billy Harris, a handsome fighter pilot, wrote to Peggy. A romance blossomed.
I didn't want to marry somebody going overseas, really. But that changed.
Billy and Peggy married. Billy went off to war. Peggy never saw her husband again.
We had enough time. We had enough time for a lifetime.
Through the days and weeks after the D-Day invasion, Peggy and Billy had exchanged letters. Then, in late July of '44, Billy was shot down just outside this small French village. This is the spot where his plane came to rest. Guy Serlot is the last person alive to have seen Billy when he died.
J'ai été voir Billy.
He says he ran to Billy's plane. He saw Billy inside, and he says he looked perfectly normal, but he knew Billy was dead. What was the end for Billy Harris was now just the beginning for Peggy. After Billy's plane went down here in Levant, France, Peggy got word that Billy had been killed in action. But then she got another letter that said he'd been missing in action. And then came a third letter that said maybe he was back home in the United States. The reality for Peggy Harris is for 61 years, she never knew what happened to her husband. Meanwhile, here in Levant, not only did they know what happened, they went out of their way to celebrate Billy Harris's life. In Levant, they knew the name Billy Harris. They buried him and honored him, but his name is all they knew. It wasn't until 2005 that the dots were connected. Peggy was finally told what had happened to Billy. She flew over right away. Guy Serlot remembers well those first moments with Peggy.
Difficile.
Difficult and emotional. Guy is Peggy's last direct connection to the love she lost. Peggy never remarried.
He was married to me all of his life, and I shall have been married to him all of my life. And it is a very willing choice.
Miss Harris, rest assured that we will maintain this tomb and will keep the memory alive of the ones who, among many other young men from the United States, gave his life for our freedom.
To this day, Billy Harris is celebrated and remembered here in Levant. He's no longer buried here, but his gravestone remains, as does the street named after him.
It was extremely rewarding to know that such caring was given to him, that he was cared for.
I think we were so happy to offer her the peace. And she said, I have peace now.
The American Cemetery in Normandy is Billy Harris's final resting place. Peggy visits every year, but this year, Peggy brought her newfound friends, our 8 North Texas D-Day vets, who along with Billy were celebrated and remembered as the men who saved the world.
It's important for them to know that they are free because of people like Billy.
What a beautiful story.
Doug Dunbar, they're reporting. How's that for an example of true love? Huh?
Everlasting love, and on this day we remember and honor their sacrifice.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for watching CBS 11 News at 4 o'clock. The news at 5 is coming up next.